Good morning. I had to light the candles at the last minute because I forgot to light, and only the big one in the back was lit, which is not really well, it's a makeshift candle. But anyway, that's another story. Before my feet hit the ground this morning, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, I already had the title, and I pondered it a bit before I actually came to the computer. But I knew what I was going to talk about. And the title that I came up with is The Value of Satirical Headlines, Obama Resigns. When I published Paradox magazine from 1996 till 2001, I often reprinted satirical articles from certain websites, especially Landover Baptist Church. These articles were well written as they poked fun at the inconsistencies in the beliefs and practices of fundamental Christians. And I put the wrong word there. It was humor with an edge that pointed out uncomfortable truths. Some people were really offended, not seeing the value. Today we have Onion and Before It's News that do the same thing in print, along with a host of comedy shows like Saturday Night Live that do the same thing. Anyway, on September 30th, I posted a link on Facebook with the headline, Obama Resigns. The subheadline was, He Urges a Time of Healing. Some of his supporters took offense and accused me of propagating lies. As I see it, they did not see the significance of the headlines, nor the value of satire often used by humorists, including the late Will Rogers. And I post the link in this blurb from Before It's News / Obama 2013-09. Obama to resign over Terrorgate pending congressional charges of conspiracy and treason. And I read that on purpose. Now, after I finished writing that blurb, I just thought for a second I'd Google a couple of things. And I Googled the value of satire. And sure enough, let me just go to that page here. I'm using the wrong, helps when I use the correct mouse. The value of satire, and there's a whole bunch. What role does satire play in today's society? What is the value of satire? The value of satire, college essay. The value of satire, a lecture by Dylan McNeil. Satire, the importance of satire, the stormy present. There's a whole, what I'm saying is, there's a whole bunch of articles and news things and whatever about the value of satire. In fact, the first one is one of the TED things, which I didn't watch. I didn't take time to watch it. But it's one of the TED lectures. And a lot of people, obviously, see this and look at it. And still, a lot of people get offended. And I thought, well, I wonder if Landover Baptist Church still publishes. Well, what do you know? I Googled them. I haven't been on their website in a number of years, for sure. I think I did check it some years back, and they were still publishing, that some years back, as in after I stopped publishing the magazine. But anyway, I went to their website, and it says, guaranteeing salvation since 1620, where the worthwhile worship, unsaved, unwelcome. And it has, some of their headlines are, children's Halloween costumes or evolutionist propaganda. The top 10 tips for Halloweeners. The devil's birthday draweth nigh. Wicca, Satan's favorite new religion. Haunting houses with the Holy Ghost. American Christians ask, why is God sending earthquakes and hurricanes to his favorite country? And then another one, please baby Jesus, don't send us to hell for celebrating Halloween. Watch our pastor hunt Wiccans on YouTube. The True Christian Warning, we are unstoppable. We are conservative, godly, Republican, and unstoppable. Those are just some of the headlines. Oh, here's another one. Abstinence makes the church grow fondlers. These are really, really poignant headlines. And they always had poignant headlines. Now, as I understand it, the creators of Landover Baptist website were ghostwriters for Jerry Falwell at the time of his moral majority uh, headline making statements and stuff like that, that this is God judging America. He and Pat Robertson used to get on this kick, uh, poking, and they were poking fun at him, but these satirists were actually ghostwriters for Jerry Falwell, and they were gay, which was an irony in itself. And sharp, witty articles that showed the inconsistencies of some of the Christian beliefs, that we are a special club. We don't want anybody that disagrees with us because we can't handle controversy. In fact, one of my articles that I wrote in the fourth edition of my magazine was something to the effect of fundamentalists. How was it written? I should have remembered the title before I started mentioning it. But one of my friends, who became a friend, he wasn't a friend before that article. He had written a book called The Gay Agenda, talking back to fundamentalists, and he keyed in on that article that fundamentalists are unable to stand in light of facing their own inconsistencies, the ridiculousness of their beliefs. Satire provides a way to get us to open up and see. Now, of course, the fundamentalists aren't going to see it because they take everything literally. They don't understand the importance of non-literal headlines like Obama resigns. But most of them didn't even see, I bet you, he urges a time of healing. Well, that's putting Obama in a pretty good light. Actually, the Obama resigns is putting Obama in a pretty good light. Because I'm sure if he is a light worker, as many insist, I'm sure it must frustrate him to have to call for the bombing of Syria, and prior to that, the bombing of Libya, where they were point blank going after Gaddafi, which is a crime against humanity. It violates international law. You cannot go after the head of a state like we did in 2001 when we went after Saddam Hussein. You can't do that. But the United States has been doing that for a long time. A long time. They go after the people that are their political enemies and try to eliminate them. They go after presidents of South American and Latin American countries where the dictator wants to do good for the people. They call it a war against communism, but they actually hire assassins to assassinate, either by direct, overt attack, an overt operation, or they use a covert operation where they attack in a more subtle way by getting the person sick and causing heart attacks and stuff like that. Yes, they have the capability, the technological skill to do that. Okay. We don't like to face our dark side. We don't like to face our shadow. So Saturday Night Live does skits where they roast the president. In fact, they have banquets where they roast the president. They did it to George Bush. I'm sure they've done it to Obama. It's humor with an edge, because the edge is there's something truthful about it. There's something that we need to look at here before it's news. Obama to resign over Terrorgate pending congressional charges of conspiracy and treason. He is committing conspiracy and treason, breaking international law, as all presidents in recent years have done with their wars in the former Yugoslavia, under the Clinton administration and all the wars that George Bush instigated. And of course, the first George Bush did the first, what was it called? Not Operation Rescue. That was the Christian fundamentalist that did that one. Uh, anyway, uh, the first war in Iraq and the Free Kuwait movement, which was all a put on, it was all a show. And they roasted him for things like that. And even the presidents would sit and laugh at the humor that was poked at them, realizing, perhaps, I hope, the value in it for society. Will Rogers did it all the time, political humor, poking fun at the inconsistencies of our Congress and of the Washington gang, who were nothing more than criminals wearing sheep's clothing. And they still are. I mean, that was true in Will Rogers' day, and it's still true today. More true than it was in his day. And yet he tried to draw the attention of the American people, in his case, to the inconsistencies of the District of Criminals Club known as Washington. Folks, we need to take a serious look, and there's no better way to take a serious look at something than with humor. Because humor cuts through the BS with biting satire. But it's satire that we need to take to heart. If Obama is the white hat, wouldn't it be good of him to say, oh, I can't handle this anymore. I'm not able to do what I want to do, so I'm going to quit. But I urge a time of healing. I really want to see this nation heal. So on the one hand, it's saying he's resigning, but it's giving a reason. Well, yeah, it's giving two reasons, because the title of the article is For Conspiracy and Treason. Every single one, virtually every single one of our senators and our congressmen in the United States and your parliamentarians in your countries, or whatever you call them, they all are committing treason because they're operating a criminal enterprise under the guise of governance. It's not government, legitimate government. It's not government by consent of the people. The only legitimate government has to have the consent of the people. The Congress in the United States has an approval rating that's under 10%, single digits. They do not have the consent of the people. They did not have the consent of the people when Obama was calling for the bombing of Syria. They did not have the consent of the people. They only had the consent of Israel, because that was all that mattered. What does Israel want? Well, Israel too is a terrorist nation. We need to start poking fun at the Pope, the Vatican, because the Vatican owns all the people on the earth. At least it's been operating under the assumption and the insane belief that it has the right to own souls. Did you know that? And it owns the City of London, which controls the financial structure of the world, which is nothing but fraud. It's nothing but absolute fraud and dealing in human slave trade. It's trafficking in human beings using debt as the prison. But in the United States, we've taken it not just to keep people in prison via debt. We actually build prisons and make it an enterprise where they deprive people of their natural rights by making them live in a prison that doesn't allow the prisoners to get any sunlight. That they probably feed them give them fluoridated water to drink, and feed them bad food, and don't give them adequate places and they say, well, they're prisoners. We're not supposed to treat them nice. No, they're human beings. And most of them didn't do anything wrong under common law. They may have smoked pot or sold pot or something like that. But they didn't do anything that was truly unlawful. And you need to understand the difference between what is legal and what is lawful. The legal system is totally unlawful. Totally unlawful. And I wish I was a satirist. Sometimes I might be able to get a little bit of satire in. But I'm very serious about the importance of satire and the importance of looking at these things, looking at Onion and Before It's News. These are satirical websites. And when I posted that, I said, is it true? Let me just go back and look at that a minute. Because when I'm not going to refresh the page now because it'll take a little while, but as of 4:15 or 4:20 this morning, that thing that I posted on Facebook on Monday has 81 comments, 51 shares, and 37 likes. Now, I'll bet you if there was an unlike feature or a thumbs down feature on Facebook like there is on YouTube, it would have probably gotten a fairly good sized number of thumbs down because people don't get it. I wasn't spreading lies. I was spreading the truth. Obama needs to take a serious look at what he's doing. He is accountable for his actions, as we all are under common law. And folks, I'm going to tell you, common law courts are springing up all over the world. We're going to see people indicting some of these leaders, some of these CEOs, some of these bank presidents, some of these people in high places. They're going to be indicting them for conspiracy and crimes against humanity and treason against the government, the real foundation of governments, which is constitutions that limit government and limit government officials that are pretending to be government, that are pretending to be officials, that are pretending to have power, judges and all sorts of politicians, the media heads. These people have committed crimes against humanity and they continue to propagate it. I'm going to continue to point a finger and tell the truth. Not so that we can go after them, but so that we can wake up and that we can produce something that will bring remedy and solutions to the insanity of our world in our religious, political, and business institutions. So that we can learn to love one another and we can start recognizing that we are all connected. And the only remedy, the only way out is to tell the truth. The only way out is to show compassion and to become more loving. And we've got to start that, each of us, within our own being. And we have to carry that out into society because that will liberate humanity from the insanity of our own egocentric point of view, which has become psychopathic. And that's a subject that deserves a lot of satire. Thank you for listening. You have a beautiful day. Namaste. Where's the cursor? Oh, there it goes.